Smooth Cowboy. Ah, Smooth Cowboy coming. Ready for download soon. Ron Oliver working on an album that will be out very soon. This song is called Smooth Cowboy. I told him to make it eclectic. I like it. I like it. Let's let it play out a little bit. Oh, yeah. I can't wait till this weather warms up, baby. Spring forward soon. Oh, yeah. Drink it in, baby. Hit her again, Ike. This time, put some stank on it. Yes, yes, that was Smooth Cowboy. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. Game time, Brian, otherwise known as the mailman. Not today. No, we are not. We are putting out the content. I gotta say, general video. We're gonna talk about a bunch of stuff. First and foremost, I want to talk about the state of the Micah Parsons contract negotiations. Yes, we know that Micah is pushing, and thank God for Micah. Thank you. Thank you. The haters, who cares? Thank God for Micah Parsons. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, you know, Micah Parsons is opening his mouth time and time again. He's without a contract. Oh, but he's right now. Micah's playing under the fifth-year option. He's going to be making 24 million, a little over 24 mil, fully guaranteed. Now, again, as soon as we sign that deal, his cap number will be below 10. We'll save a substantial amount of money. So the sheep need to zip it and stop following their leader, Jerry Jones, and Catboy, that we don't have any money. You're a sheep if you keep saying that. Stop. It's almost foolish at this point. But yeah, Micah, the contracts are slow going. But what I would say is you have another week before anything's going to get done regardless. The combine that starts next week. The NFL combine February 24th. All the agents for Jordan Lewis, the agents for DeMarcus Lawrence, the agents for Micah Parsons are all going to be there. Yes, they're all going to be there. So, Lawrence Taylor can relax. Lawrence Taylor, ran his mouth about Micah, basically telling him to worry more about football than podcasts. Listen, again, I've did a 180 on this. You have other players that are out there getting in trouble, getting baby mamas left and right. I mean, you see the Tyreek Hills, I think his kids are up to I don't know, put in the comments, double digits. You see Trayvon Diggs having kids. Again, Micah Parsons, if you're telling me the worst thing he's doing is that he's in a podcasting studio, well, I could live with that. I could live with that. And let's give it time. Let's get to the combine. The combine has not even gotten here yet. And a blow to the Deion Sanders household. Shiloh Sanders has not been invited to the NFL Combine. He has not, but he's going to have his 40 time ready for those agents and scouts anyway. But I want to just look to my left here, and we're gonna go over some of the key. Well, look, I'm gonna run down the offseason calendar, basically. Um, you know, that's the best way to handle these things one at a time. Franchise tag window opened on February 18th. The combine is February 24th to March 3rd. Kind of boring, if you ask me. Like the kind of boring, but that's what we do here. Franchise tag window closes March 4th. So the Cowboys or any team have until March 4th to franchise any player they designate to be franchised. So keep that in mind. It's open now, March 4th. We're getting there. It's only 28 days in February. We're sitting here on the 21st. So 10 days. They need to make a decision. The only body that Dallas would have that we would think might be an option would be Osa Odigizua. I hope we don't. I hope we do not do that because that's a sign of bad things. Just either sign him to a long-term deal to me, you would want to do that around the combine or just let him go. March 10th, that's a big day. March 10th is a big day, people. Legal tampering begins. Last year, I was off. Mark's like, yeah, he would know. Mark Holmes would know, right? He's done this over and over again. Basically, my first real legal tampering. That's when all the big deals are announced. All day one deals are announced on March 10th. So that's a big day. Us Cowboys fans, the real ones who know what they're talking about and don't follow the line of this franchise, they know that this team, I did a video on it, go check it out yesterday, just with a few things, minor things, we could have $100 million. It's really not difficult, but some of the sheep just refuse to believe it. So that's on you. The NFL free agency new league year. And I'll share my screen. That way you guys can see it. The new league year starts March 12th. So legal tampering is March 10th. You could actually sign any deals in the new league year as far as all the cap related stuff takes effect then. League meetings March 30th to April 2nd. Rules, any major rules are normally talked here. I have a feeling that like a lot of it is going to be a stadium. That there's a lot of stadiums talk. There's a lot of these billion dollar owners are all had their hand out for public funding for their stadiums. It's just ridiculous to me. Shout out to those owners who don't do that. Off-season workouts. April 7th is a big deal. April 7th is a big deal because teams that have new head coaches get to start their off-season program. April 18th, restricted free agent offer sheet deadline. So any restricted free agents, the deadline is April 18th. Off-season workouts begin for teams with returning. So you have a 2-week head start on the teams who aren't replacing their head coach and getting their off-season workouts underway. That's big. That's big, especially in our case that our head coach is new, but he's been in the building. Obviously, the NFL draft is April 24th through the 26th. 5th-year option deadline, that's to option a 5th-year deadline. If you do that, then they are paid handsomely for that. Rookie mini camps, May 2nd to 2 through 5, and then May 9th to 12th. Schedule release. That's when we find out when the Vegas game is for the Cowboys, when the opening day game is, when the Thanksgiving Day game is, how we end up our season. very, very exciting. And this is already the end of February. So we're talking less than 90 days. It's we're in the 80s that we could do a schedule release show. Rookie minicamp, spring league meetings, May 20th and 21st, June 1st. Cuts. That's the if you're cutting veterans pre June 1, post June 1. That's when it takes effect. The money, if you eligible is somebody a post June 1 cut, then you are eligible to get that money onto your cap. Let's see. Franchise tag extension deadline, July 15th. Training camp opens mid to late July. Roster cutdowns late August. I mean, it is coming fast, and I'm all for it. I really am. But getting back to the Micah Parsons contract, Micah Parsons provide worrying update on contract talks. Don't worry. Oh, it's good, It was good, Parsons says. I really have a lot of respect for Jerry. We have great conversations all the time. There's definitely a plan in place, but we'll see how everything plays out. There's been no progress yet, but I'm pretty confident that something will happen, so we'll see. That's your generic statement. We kind of knew that this was going to happen. Again, he's playing under the fifth-year option at 24 mil. So you do have time to work that out. A little around the league news. Philadelphia Eagles have named Kevin Patullo as their new offensive coordinator. The team announced Wednesday. Patullo has served as the Eagles passing game coordinator since 2021 and replaces Kellen Moore, who left the franchise after Philadelphia's win in Super Bowl 59 to take on the head coaching job in New Orleans. Just remember, Patullo was there before Kellen. So if they thought he was all that, why not hire him? That's the only if I'm an Eagle fan. Now you'll spin this that it's the best move since sliced bread. I heard it's off the 500, who's usually wrong. But hey, I that he loves the move. Oh, I mean, okay. You went outside your organization to bring in a guy who helped win a Super Bowl. So if you thought he was the guy, why not you hire him before Kellen? But who am I? Here's his face. Here's his face. Kevin Patullo. He's got a little hate to face action. He's got a little Dracula in him. But again, wish him luck. I do wish him luck. So the Eagles have gotten their offensive coordinator. Did the league meetings. And I'll just talk a little bit. Aaron Rodgers, team's quality, desire for me are factors I consider. Where do you think he ends up? Aaron Rodgers. I would have to look on like Vegas, but there's nothing particularly revealing about that answer, as you would expect. Most impending free agents are in a similar mind frame, but it seems to it remains to be seen how much the latter factor will be a sliding scale. The fact that most of the good teams in the league are settled under center. If they want you, if they're a good team, Rodgers. Let me ask my Cowboys people. Okay, let me ask you. What do you think about that? We have two guys that are not under contract. Just spitball with me. You got two guys that are not under contract. We're talking, fuck. I can't remember their damn names. Well, we got Will Greer. Will Greer, I would say bring back, but nah, who cares? That was more of a Mike McCarthy guy. Definitely McCarthy guy. Cooper Rush, I don't know. I don't know. You tell me who you want. Who do you want to be the Cowboys' backup quarterback? The Cooper Rush or Trey Lance? Trigger Trey. I mean, me personally, I would lean towards Trey Lance. I would lean towards Trey Lance, but I would be looking to upgrade. I definitely want to draft one. I've said it time and time again. I want to draft a quarterback. It's always good to draft a young quarterback. You never know when you hit it big with it. These young quarterbacks. So I don't know. Put it in the comments, but um, I wanted to get into the NFL draft real quick. I want to share this. We're going to listen in to Dane Brugler on 105.3 The Fan, just talking about some of the possibilities at 12. And let's listen in.
You would expect from a guy you're considering drafting in the first round. But and above all, it's, the character's off the charts. This is a guy that you talk to the high school coaches,
They must be
you talk
talking
to his
about
college
Genty.
coaches, and he had all types of offers this past off season to go play for a team in the SEC, a team in the Big Ten. Upwards of we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars that he turned down in order to go back to Boise State, because that's the program that believed in him coming out of Lone Star High School. So there's a lot of reasons why you can look at Ashton Genty and say, man, this is a guy we want in our building, want on our roster, the way he can impact everybody around us. So I certainly think it's something that the Cowboys will be talking about extensively as they build that board.
My concern at 12, after listening to Brian break it down for months now already, is the potential of a high-risk, high-reward player at 12 and missing on the third round basically for 3 years in a row would be tough to overcome. Are there other players beyond Genty who you feel like are likely to be there and are almost as close to a sure thing as you can get?
Just talking about at any position?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a weird...
Here's the deal, everybody. If we wait, let's say Genty's there. I am not taking the cornerback over Genty. Sorry, that's not happening here, in my opinion. I don't believe he's Patrick Surtain. I could be wrong. I'm wrong often, so that's fine. I would not do that. I would take the best player available. If Ted McMillan, Genty, and Mason Graham are there, I would probably have it McMillan, Graham, Genty. So he would be third on my list, actually. That's what it would be. So, again, if you think you're going to pass on McMillan, you can very well miss out on Hampton and the Iowa running back before we get to 44. Then there's a drop-off. Say what you want. We like all those running backs late, but there is a drop-off.
Draft, because at the top you have your Travis Hunters, your Abdul Carters. I think those are the top two guys in this draft. And then between, I would say, 3 and 12, I think is the next tier. And so, ironically, the Cowboys picking at 12, I think that they're in a spot where they should feel comfortable getting somebody from that second tier of players in this class, whether that ends up being Mason Graham from Michigan, the defensive tackle. Could he make it to 12? I know a lot of people don't think that he will, but, he might get beat up next week at the Combine because his arms aren't going to be super long. He's not going to be, the best tester out there. The tape is phenomenal, but Mason Graham might not be one of those guys that is super traitsy, even though I think he belongs in the top 5 of this draft. You could look at a few of these defensive linemen, whether that's Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. Now, you talk about bust potential. He certainly has that, but Shamar Stewart is going to put on a show next week in Indianapolis. The guy's 280 pounds, and he might run in the 4.5. That's how different this guy is. So, offensive lineman, Will Campbell from LSU, Armand Membu from Missouri. It's an interesting draft because of the way things play out. One of the guys that I think will be on the Cowboys' radar who has a lot at stake at the Combine is Will Johnson, the corner from Michigan, who I think could be in play there at number 12. The tape was really good in 20.
Now, I hadn't listened to this. I had not listened to this, but Ultra Cowboy, it makes a lot of sense what you said. So I just crapped on Will Johnson, who my guy, Dane Brugler, is saying is in the conversation. So let's listen a little more.
This past year, he was banged up quite a bit, got beat a few times. The question will be just the pure speed. And I think the jumps will look good at the Combine. I think the agility will look good at the Combine. but what's the 40-yard dash? We know the combine or the cornerback position is a stopwatch position. And so will he be able to run a sub 4.45 in the 40-yard dash? And that's even if he chooses to run. We might not see Will Johnson run a 40-yard dash ever again, which I think would be a tell that, hey, those numbers aren't where he wants them to be to put a definitive number on paper for scouts.
I love the idea of the Cowboys taking a corner at 12. You mentioned Will Johnson, corner out of Michigan. How much better do you think he is than, say, Texas's Jade?
Now, listen, I'm not saying that I wouldn't take Will Johnson at 12. I'm telling you that I don't know that I would take him over Genti. That's all.
Hey, Barron.
Well, I think they're two different, just like with receivers, you've got inside receivers, outside receivers, right? And with Barron, he played a little bit of everything in that Texas secondary, inside,
Smaller
outside,
guy.
played some safety, played some in the box. But I think that his profile, the way that he's built, the way that he plays, teams are going to look at him as an inside player. He's like some teams have strict size thresholds in terms of length. He might be under 30-inch arms. And for a lot of teams, that's automatic X for an outside cornerback spot. So now on the inside, that might be a little bit different. So I like Jahdae Barron. I'm just not as nearly as high as some other people and talking about him as high as the top 15. I like Jahdae Barron into the first round, into the second round. I think, he might get beat up a little bit just because the physical traits, even though the tape is good, the versatility is good, the physical traits aren't exactly what a lot of teams look for at the position.
Dane, it's good to hear your voice again.
Love Dane Brugler.
The wide receiver room.
Soon.
And I was watching Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft with some interest because of his, him being a former NFL scout and the connections he has. He had Ted McMillan getting all the way down to 19 to Tampa Bay. Is he telling us something that we don't know talking to teams? Because it always seems like that McMillan would be a guy that everybody's talking about potentially in the top 8.
Curious to see what they say
as far as the first wide receiver off the board, but he gets him all the way to 19. Is there something we're missing there?
Yeah, really.
No, I don't think so. I think that's just the nature of this draft. Last year was pretty easy with Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, but even a talent like Brian Thomas Jr. fell all the way to the 20s,
sure.
Which was a little surprising on draft day. So with a guy like Ted McMillan, it'll be interesting to see what he runs next week at the Combine, what his 40 is, because that vertical speed is kind of the question mark, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that is super loose. He's limber. He's a ball winner. He's almost like a Gumby-ish version of a T. Higgins,
sure.
Where speed's not exactly the reason you're drafting him, but you want to at least see a 4.52 number or something better than that, just to kind of check that box and say, okay, well, he's not a burner, but he's not slow either. So I think there are going to be a lot of teams in the top 15 that I think are going to look at the trenches and say, let's get our offensive linemen, let's get our defensive linemen, and maybe, pass on a few of these receivers. But McMillan's got a wide range. He could go as early as 5.
Right.
He could fall, into the early 20s. I don't think it's a huge shock just because of the nature of this draft. It's just a really unique class this year.
Let me hear what he said.
I know on my board there's 3 guys that have injuries that I really, the tape is good. When you talk about Josh Simmons from Ohio State, the tackle, Ravel, the East Carolina.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Interesting. So is this going to be one of them drafts where Luther Burden leapfrogs everybody just because of his playmaking ability and goes to the top of the wide receiver list and is drafted in the top 10, where a Ted McMillan may slip? We need to open our eyes, people, to this combine and to the possibility that he's not going to run good, Ted McMillan. And we're going to take him anyway. Just remember, CeeDee Lamb is not a burner, but Ted McMillan is exactly what the Cowboys need. They need an X receiver. He high points the ball. He attacks the ball. He doesn't drop the ball. Okay? You don't need, I know what other people say, you got to have a burner. I understand. We have the fastest player, wide receiver in the NFL on our team now, and we don't use him correctly. Yes. Kavontae Turpin. He's a free, I don't know if he's a restricted, but he's going to be free. We'll probably bring him back. He's one of the fastest guys. 2-time Pro Bowler. He's been in the NFL 2 years. Out of the UFL, Dallas picked him up. Nobody wanted him. Back-to-back Pro Bowls. He's a speedster. We need a guy who can run routes and just go up and catch a ball. He's a beast. He's tall. That would be my pick at number 12 over Mason Graham because of the depth at defensive tackle. And I'm going to end this video with just some of the updated, this is per Dane Brugler. We went through his top 100, but he tweaked it as of February the 20th. This is a consensus between Dane and a few of his guys. Abdul Carter jumped to number 1. Remember, they had Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, number 2. Ashton Genty is the number 3 overall. So just remember that. Mason Graham, number 4. That's why I said there's 3 players that I would take at 12 over anybody else. Even the cornerback. Tyler Warren. Ultra, there he is, baby. Listen, if all fails, I ask you, Ultra, would you take Tyler Warren over the cornerback, Will Johnson? Will Johnson, Seth McMillan, Will Campbell, Micah Williams, Jalon Walker. That's a guy that we talked about. He's all over the map. The NFL scouts love this guy. They think he's going to be an absolute beast. My question is, how does he fit on the Cowboys? To me, it's kind of like Abdul Carter, where he's just a playmaker. Abdul Carter's a little bigger, but still. James Pierce, Cam Ward. Yeah, the first quarterback at 12. I told you. Quarterbacks in this draft stink. So the Giants and Cleveland, everybody said you got to take a quarterback. Maybe you like Jackson Dart. Maybe you like Riley Leonard. Maybe you like Rourke out of Indiana. Maybe you like the Syracuse quarterback, Kyle McCord. Maybe you like Milroe. I don't know about that, but you know what I'm saying? The Kelvin Banks, Luther Burden, 14, Loveland, tight end out of Michigan, Shamar Stewart, boomer bust. He's going to kill it at the combine. Walter Nolan, we're hearing Dallas at 12. Scouts love this kid. Scouts say his traits are unbelievable. Mike Green, edge rusher, is going to have short arms, might drop a little bit. Love the player. Mmbao, offensive tackle, might be the best offensive tackle. Malachi Starks down to 20. Josh Simmons with the knee injury. Egbuka, there he goes. Kenny Grant, Jihad Campbell, Tyler Booker. Love Tyler Booker. Love him. He's my best guard in the draft. Derek Harmon, Jade Barron, Shador Sanders, 28. That's where he belongs. That's where he belongs. Connerly, Matthew Golden, love Golden, Omarion Hampton. This is why I'm telling you. Everybody says we can get Hampton in a second because of all these mock drafts. Don't count on it. Donovan Jackson. Now that, if you want an offensive guard, go get me Donovan, or slash tackle, go get me Donovan Jackson. That's the Ohio State lineman I want. Nick Skirton, nah. Nick Imanwari, okay. Tyleek Williams, big boy out of Ohio State. Yes, please. Donovan Ezerique. Carson Schlesinger. He's not going to run good at the combine. He is flying up the charts because he's a playmaker at a UCLA. Yes, please. Jack Sawyer, Alfred Collins. You get the hint. We're going to leave it there. We're getting excited. Again, we're going to be covering as much of the combine as we can. Again, we can't show the combine, but we could cover the combine. We could stream live during the combine. So we have to find out when they're going to be doing the position groups and work around my schedule. But I'm definitely looking forward to all of it. Franchise tags are the first thing to come off the board March 4th, following by legal tampering March 10th. That's it for me. That's the video. Game time, Brian. I will talk to everybody later, and always never forget.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
A little bit.